is working. So today is June 25th, 2025, and we're going to do an account update here. So same thing, starting off at the top here, our total equity, we are down a little bit compared to yesterday, so $53,667.70. Our cash position is $59,510.22. Our open profit and loss has changed, so that's gone to 3,004.29. We did take some profit today, and then today's profit and loss 7,134. Once again, that's because we closed some positions. If we didn't do that, then yeah, we'd probably be in the negatives, and I'll show you why later. So just checking out our balances. So usually we're looking at the USD cash balance, so $21,501.81. And then down at the bottom left here, our max buying power in CAD is 32,467.35. So I think we're doing okay, but I guess just as some context for you, so this buying power is leveraged from some other positions which are also highly volatile. So that does not help with this whole margin thing. But yeah, definitely very risky, so I don't recommend that, but that's what I'm doing, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, so we definitely made a lot of moves today. Yeah, lots of moves here, so I'm gonna go through and hopefully explain everything. So same one from yesterday, we finally closed these out. So we closed it out at maybe about $1.90, and that was for like a 93 to 94% profit. So you can see the closed profit and loss, $5,660 on this September 19th 110 put. So it feels good to finally close this out. This has been kind of, just sitting there for months, and I think we're okay to take profit here and just kind of de-risk a little bit. Going down, so this is where it really gets interesting, where it starts to make me a little bit nervous. You can see here I didn't close any of those positions out. They are down hundreds and thousands of percent here. So the 141 call sold it for $32, and now it's worth $360. Yeah, the 142 call, the 145 call. So here, at least position sizing wasn't crazy, although it's definitely still a lot. Now that it's breached that initial strike of 141, I do kind of feel like I put on a larger position size than I should have. But previously, when I completely blew up my account, we were going like 16, 20 naked calls on some highly volatile stocks. So at least this is not as much, but still we are in a risky position here. We also have the 150 call here. So my plan is for AMD. So right now AMD is at 143.69 post market. I'm hoping there's a little bit of resistance around 144, 145, 146. So if it does continue to move up, if it's still looking strong, and it's not kind of what I'm thinking will happen, then unfortunately we're going to have to close the 150 calls at a loss. The 145s, yeah, will probably close as well. And then the 141 and 142 here, we're going to try to roll out, maybe about 2 weeks, and then roll up the strike maybe $1 or $2 or $3. We're going to try to roll for some credit, and hopefully AMD will have maybe stabilized a little bit, retraced a little bit, or seen some profit taking, and hopefully we can minimize further losses. So that's the plan for that. But worst case scenario, I will just close them out at a loss. It will be a very big loss if it gets to 150. It's going to be a couple thousand. So we hope it doesn't get there. Another thought I had was perhaps I might buy some leaps. So December, maybe 170, 180, 190 strike. There's going to be, from what I saw before, anywhere from 500 to $1,000 depending on the strike. But that is another way to minimize risk if these naked calls go against me. So we're going to buy some leaps calls in addition to rolling out and up, in addition to closing out some positions. Today as well, we closed out a lot of the puts on this kind of strangle, and we brought it up to a straddle. So we closed the 128 put, the 131. Actually, yeah, that's it. And we left the 133, left the 135, although it wouldn't have been a bad idea to maybe close those and possibly sell some new ones with a higher strike. But yeah, you can see here the 137, 139, and 140 put. So those are all the new ones that I've sold. They are up right now, but from, I guess, a couple situations before, sometimes you do see a whipsaw. So AMD goes up a lot. Actually, this happened last week. AMD went up probably 10% as well, and then it came back down a little bit towards the end of the week. So the put side might get tested, but for me with naked puts, I'd rather it get tested on the put side, and rather than the call side, because the call side could be, you know, technically unlimited loss. Okay, so, and then we also added the 141 here, so we've converted it to a straddle at this point. So one straddle, and if it keeps going up, then I will probably close out some of the lower strike ones and bring up the strike, and maybe even go to next week. Although I know some people recommend going out 45 days. For now, I'm just doing weeklies, and then we'll go from there. So with weeklies, it definitely is way more volatile, but I think it does give me some room to make adjustments as needed. Okay, so that's it for AMD. Let's see how that goes. I wouldn't be surprised if it keeps going up, but I am hoping that it comes back down somewhere in between the 137, 138. I think I'd be pretty happy with that, and that way those puts that are now in the money, I will roll them out 1 or 2 weeks, and keep the same strike or reduce the strike by maybe $1 or $2 for a net credit. So for gold here, we're just going to keep these ones on. So 310, 311, 312. Gold is sitting at 307 now, so you know it's close to the 310. If it does hit 310, I will roll out and maybe up $1 or $2 for another 2 weeks. But if it does go up, then that means it's good for these puts here. So I'm not going to do anything with these puts. They don't seem to be too liquid right now. You know, high risk for assignment. So we'll see. Hopefully gold does continue to go up a little bit. If I had it my way, then yeah, we'd have it sitting at 310. Would be very nice to finish the week. And then next week continue to move up a little bit higher. But I don't know if gold has, you know, much more room to go. Going down to this hymns one, I did end up closing it. I think it was for about $7 or $6. That's because I honestly don't really know too much about hymns. I just saw it was down 30%. Thought might as well take advantage of the volatility. Made like, yeah, 20 something dollars. Probably not worth the amount of risk, or the amount of money that you're risking. But, you know, that's why we got to close it here. This September 19th 55 strike put for Hood, very, very close to closing it. I think Hood's just going to keep going up, so I won't close it just yet, but every day I look at it, I'm like more and more tempted to just close it here and use it for some new positions. We don't have to close all 3 at one time. We can close one at a time. Maybe close one this week, close one next week. So yeah, I'm very close to closing these. We closed a couple other ones here, the 65 strike and the 69 strike. I think there were a couple contracts there. And then we added, did we add anything? Yeah, so we added the 75 strike and maybe the 76 strike. And so we're just going to leave these for now. You know, it is it does have a couple days to expiry, and I don't think hood is going to drop down that much. It definitely could, anything could happen, but I guess that's the risk we're willing to take as sellers of premium. And with NVIDIA, I'm just going to leave this here. We'll write some next week. NVIDIA is looking strong. It hit a new all-time high today, I think 154.31. So maybe next week, on if it's continue to look strong, then maybe we can make a couple trades there. But that's it for today. I'll show you just on the orders. So I'm going to scroll all the way down. This is from the morning. So starting at the very bottom here, the 135 put for AMD. We sold that. We sold the 137 put for AMD, 76 put for hood. We bought to close the 128 put for AMD, and then we sold the 139 put for AMD. We bought to close the 131 put for AMD, and then sold the 140 put for AMD. We bought to close a bunch of hood positions here, 4 contracts of the 65 strike, 2 contracts of the 69 strike. And we sold to open hood 76 strike. We sold to open the 141 put for AMD, and that converts it to the straddle there. Closed the HIMS 35 strike put. Closed the AMD September 19th 110 strike put for 190 per contract. So we spent $380 there, plus $2 of commission to close that, relieve some buying power, use the buying power for something else. And lastly, we sold a 75 strike put for hood expiring this week. So those are the moves I made today. I think the next 2 days should be pretty exciting. The main thing is just managing AMD. I think that's the main one. When it breaches through your strikes, especially I guess the call side and it's naked, that's when it gets a little bit exhilarating and exciting. So we will see what happens. I will keep you updated.